Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Bears Core Studio. Welcome to the show. So on today's episode, I'm going to be talking about some cards that you need to pick up right now if you want to pick them up while they are budget, because these cards are on the border of being budget. That's a lot of B's right there. Border of being budget. But yeah, these cards are within my budget. Currently, less than $1. But that being said, they very well might not last there for long. These are some massive pickups. So let's jump into it. And we're going to start things off with Harvester of Souls. An incredible card in many decks out there. A 5/5 death-touching demon that costs 4 black. Whenever another non-token creature dies, you may draw a card. Now, this one's 96 cents currently, and that is 96 cents worth of a ton of value. My goodness, the work that this card can do in a lot of decks out there. I mean, one of the most popular decks out there, one of the most popular archetypes of decks is an aristocrat-style deck where you are sacrificing creature after creature after creature again and again and again. Like, you know, getting a reassembling skeleton out, sacrificing it for value, drawing some cards with something like this, and also getting other value too, like Zulport, Cutthroat, etc., etc. That being said, be careful with this one because it does specify non-token. So if you're an aristocrat-style deck that focuses heavily on just sacrificing a lot of tokens, yeah, that might not be the best play for it. That being said, this also does not specify that it has to be your creatures. So in decks that, well, maybe run a good amount of brass, a good amount of removal, a good amount of ways to take out creatures, maybe some edict effects as well. Yeah, just one simple edict effect forcing everyone to sacrifice one creature, like say Fleshbag Marauder or Plaguecrafter. Hey, that is draw 4. Assuming your opponents have creatures. So there you go. This can work in aristocrats, this can work in removal decks, this can work in a lot of decks out there. And yeah, a 5/5 with Death Touch is just nothing. I mean, it's nothing to not be afraid of as well. Nothing to not be afraid of. Your opponents are going to be afraid of it regardless, yet it's a value engine for you. Next up, though, also at 96 cents, speaking of value engines, we've got Mirhall Mimic, a 0/0 spirit that costs 3 and a blue. You may have it enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it's a spirit and other types. So, essentially just clone. This is basically just clone, except for also, hey, yeah, it's also a spirit, sure. That might come in handy in some ways, it might not. What really matters, though, is that this also, on top of being a clone, has Disturb for 3 blue. So you can cast from your graveyard, transformed for its Disturb cost. So let's flip it over, and we've got Ghastly Mimicry, and this is where the value really comes in. Enchantment or enchant creature. Beginning of your upkeep, create a tokenless copy of enchanted creature except a spirit to other types. If you put in a grave from anywhere, exile it instead. So essentially, this is just clone plus a ton of potential value. Again, the exact same cost as a regular clone on the front. After you get into your graveyard, you can disturb it out, essentially. I mean, whether that's you milled it, whether it was in play and it died, discarded it, whatever. Get it on top of one of your best creatures out there, maybe one that has a great ETB, and use and abuse that again and again and again, turn after turn after turn. Now, if this would have been a graveyard from anywhere, it's exiled instead, that's okay. That doesn't mean you couldn't bounce it, get it back to your hand, clone something else, whatever you need to do. That being said, again, the amount of value this can get you in the right deck out there, I mean, ones that just want to consider clones, ones that really care about, again, ETBs, maybe LTBs, you know, maybe having a different kind of anthem effects in play, whatever it is, whatever you care about. Yeah, if this is going to be going into a clone slot in a deck, this can just give you a insane amount of value. So yeah, make sure you're considering it right now. Again, just 96 cents. Moving on, also at 96 cents, we've got a land in here. And yeah, this land might seem like it's not all that, well, impactful, but my goodness, the impact that this kind of a card can have in the right situation, it can save you in games. It can just save your game for you. Essentially, Scavenger Grounds, a desert that can tap for a colorless, pay 2 tap, sacrifice a desert, exile all graveyards. Now, maybe you don't have any other deserts in the deck, and that is completely fine. You don't need another desert in the deck. All you need is just this. This is a desert, so it can sacrifice itself, and when you do, you get rid of every single graveyard out there. Now, if you have a deck that cares about your own graveyard, yeah, don't run this, because it's not going to help you out, really. It's going to destroy your graveyard, too. That being said, this can just be a giant problem for your opponents if they've got, you know, graveyard synergies, if they've got, you know, a reanimator deck, if they've got, you know, flashback cards or whatnot, or ways to get value out of their graveyard. All of a sudden you're saying, no, my simple land right here is going to say, yeah, let's just get rid of all graveyards. Let's make that a non-issue. Players that, again, have those kinds of strategies are going to play around this land, which literally doesn't really take up a slot in your deck, right? It's just a land slot. Now, I will say, again, with utility lands like this, typically you want to utilize them in 1 color, 2 color, maybe 3 depending on how many utility lands you can throw in there. It really depends. That being said, yeah, this is a really heavy hitter for a utility land. It doesn't, enter the battlefield tapped or anything like that. You can use its mana right away. It's not going to help you fix your mana, but again, it can save you in some really crucial situations and can really throw a wrench into your friends' plans with their Reanimator deck, or again, Graveyard Synergies or Flashback or whatever they have. Next up, apparently a lot at 96 cents. Anyways, so we got Sifter of Skulls. This card is incredible, and it used to be a lot more budget-friendly a long time ago, then went to quite a bit not budget-friendly. Now back underneath $1 finally. So yeah, if you've been waiting for this one to be budget-friendly, pick it up. 4/3 Eldrazi with Devoid for 3 and a black. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you get a 1/1 colorless Eldrazi Scion creature token on the battlefield. It has sacrifice this creature, add colors to your mana pool. So again, aristocrat style strategies. Absolutely love cards like this. Basically, token generators on death effects. So yeah, like a Teysa Karlov deck is going to love this because, let's say again, you sacrifice your Reassembling Skeleton, all of a sudden you get 2 of those tokens, which then can sacrifice themselves. So you are getting extra bodies on the field that you can sacrifice for extra value. And again, these Eldrazi that you're making, these Eldrazi Scions, you can have them sacrifice themselves, again, for value, for, draining with Zulport Cutthroat, for drawing with certain other cards. And of course, yeah, I mean, just getting that mana from them as well. So this can be a mana boost for you, an army creator for you, a token replacer. I mean, not a token replacer, but a creature replacer with tokens. Yeah, you can just get a ton of value out of something like this. Again, aristocrat style strategies. Absolutely love cards like this. These massive token generators. This card can make a huge impact for you, creature token wise, mana value wise. Absolutely crazy. At 96 cents, we'll see how long that stays. So make sure you pick one up now. Next up at 97 cents, a utility card with Golem Charm. Yeah, this card is pretty incredible. Instant 4, black and a green, choose 1. All creatures get -1/-1 until end of turn. Destroy target enchantment or regenerate each creature you control. So all of these modes, again, most charms out there, they'll have a mode or 2 that really helps you out, and maybe the third one doesn't. This one, yeah, I mean, I'd say that 2 of the modes are better than the other one, but all of them are very relevant, and 2 of them are incredibly relevant in Commander. First up, 2 mana instant speed. Regenerate each creature you control. That is huge, like Rapid Vigor essentially, but yeah, this one's got more flexibility to it. Being able to just save your entire team in most circumstances, again, against the vast majority of Wraths out there. Now, there are some Wraths out there that specify, can't be regenerated. Sure, but most Wraths out there that say destroy all creatures, yeah, this is going to save your entire team, again, instant speed for just 2 mana. That is huge. Making a board wipe, that an opponent might have, turning into a one-sided board wipe for you. Secondly, destroy target enchantment. Yeah, that is going to be very relevant in the vast majority of Commander games out there. Having just 2 mana instant speed removal for a pesky enchantment that you don't want on the battlefield, that can be great. And the third one, all creatures get -1/-1 until end of turn. This one is probably the least used out of the 3 modes. Still, it can have a massive impact for you. Again, if you're playing into your opponent's token deck, and they're just like, yeah, I've got 85 million tokens in play, and all of a sudden you're like, how big are they? 1/1s? Cool. All right. They're tinier. They're gone. They are 0/0s now. Yeah, this can just be a great way to wipe out a bunch of tiny creatures, maybe some mana dorks, but yeah, mostly just a token army is going to be just gone with something like this. So again, for 2 mana, this is very flexible, very fantastic. Wizards needs to keep reprinting it because, well, its price just keeps creeping up. So make sure you pick one up now, or more, depending on how many decks you can have that utilize this one. Now we're going to move all the way up to 98 cents, though, with Big Score. Now, this type of card has started seeing more and more play recently. I mean, after they started printing them. Yeah, basically, hey, in red now, you get, well, looting effects, obviously. You get rummaging effects, and now you also get kind of like looting or rummaging that also involves temporary mana production in the form of treasures. And Big Score is a great card to do just that. Instant for 3 in red. This will cost cast a spell, discard a card, draw 2, create 2 treasure tokens. So basically, hey, you are netting card advantage, obviously. You are discarding 1 card to get 2, so a rummage, but plus card advantage. And then also, hey, you're getting some of that mana back. I mean, and also a way to store that mana if you want to. So you can utilize that mana right away if you need to. So it's kind of like just a 2 mana card in a way. If you want to utilize those treasures right away, cool. All right, you spent 4, you got 2 back, you discarded 1, you drew 2. All right, you're up on cards, great. Or, more likely, you're going to be like, okay, I'll save my mana up, instant speed, do this right before my turn, essentially, set myself up for a bigger turn next turn with 2 extra mana. So yeah, this can really just hypercharge you and get you ahead of your opponents, and yeah, these kinds of cards are great. This price always been fluctuating, and yeah, 98 cents a great deal for it right now. Hopefully Wizards keeps reprinting it and getting that price down, but yeah. If you have a deck that could utilize some card advantage, maybe some temporary ramp with treasures, if you got decks that really care about treasures specifically, yeah, a fantastic card for those as well. Next up, one that I need to point out because it is rarely under $1, rarely budget. It is for specific decks out there, though. Let's talk about Mishras Bobble, an artifact for 0 tap, sacrifice, look at top card, target player's library, draw a card at the beginning, next turn's upkeep, I should say. Yeah, this one is specific, I will say, what kinds of decks want it. Artifact-specific decks. So ones that are very much, caring about getting a lot of artifacts in play, maybe getting artifacts out there, sacrificing them, maybe egg-style artifact decks, maybe cantripping things as well. This is just basically a free cantrip for you. Now, it's a delayed cantrip. Again, it's an artifact for 0. There's not too many of those out there. But again, artifact for 0. Get it out there. Sacrifice it. Getting a look at the top player, card of a player's library is nice. I mean, if you've got some mill in there too, you can deal with that card or just kind of know what you're prepared for, or tell all your opponents what it's going to be so they can be prepared for it as well. Tell all your opponents, well, tell the opponents that aren't the opponent. I guess you're telling them too, but letting everyone know that, hey, this dangerous thing is coming. More importantly, though, again, you get to draw a card to replace this card. So, yeah, there's ways to take advantage of getting artifacts in play, sacrificing them, etc., 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 casting non-creature spells, even with a deck like Kaikar, those kinds of things as well. So, yeah, Mishras Bobble, a good card, a very good card that is rarely under $1. It is very specific in what decks that want it, but the decks that want it really want it, so make sure you're considering that if you've got an artifact-centric deck. Next up, at 98 cents, we've got Radiant Destiny, and I'll just spoil it here. This is a card that sees play in, well, tribal decks, because it's a very good card for tribal decks, and tribal decks are some of the most impactful, themes, but most impactful theme in Commander, one of the most popular themes in Commander. I guess if you put all the tribal decks together, probably the most popular one out there. Regardless, enchantment for 2 and a white. It has Ascend. If you control 10 or more opponents, you get the City's Blessing for the rest of the game. Here's the thing. In Commander, you're basically guaranteed you always get the City's Blessing, unless you're playing probably EDH. So, there you go. As enters battlefield, is a creature type. Creatures control the chosen type get +1/+1. As long as you City's Blessing, they also have Vigilance. So essentially, hey, tribal decks, do you want an Anthem effect? Yay! Well, most of them say yay. Do you also want to give your creatures Vigilance? Yay! Also, so there you go. If you've got a tribal deck, this is a really, really good card in it. If you're looking for a way to have your creatures get larger and also swing out, there's a ton of tribes out there that can definitely utilize this one, and just sneaks into our budget. Again, less than $1 at 98 cents. So if you've got a tribal deck that's in white that can utilize something like this, make sure you check it out. And speaking of sneaking in, at 98 cents also, we've got Tainted Strike, and this card is spicy. Instant for a black mana. Target creature gets +1/+0 and gains Infect until end of turn. Again, that basically means that, hey, they're going to deal poison counter damage or also -1/+1 counters. Regardless, yeah, this is a crazy, crazy, crazy good card because it kind of tilts the game on a different axis in a way. Even if your entire deck has absolutely no Infect, no Toxic, no other poison effects in it, this can just be, by the way, I have a way to take you out with Infect. It doesn't have to be you actually doing it too. So essentially, hey, if you've got maybe a commander, maybe a Voltron style deck, and you can easily get your commander to 10+ damage, there you go. All you need to do, I guess 9 damage is what you really need to get to, right? All you need to do is just swing, get through, and then all of a sudden, utilize this before damage is dealt, +1/+0, 10 poison counters for your opponent. They are gone. It just kind of changes the math completely for you. It doesn't have to be your commander, obviously. It can be any creature deck. If you've got some big bodies in the deck, and you've got some Anthem effects, some pump effects, and you can get to creatures to, again, that 9 power amount, essentially. Or if, your opponents might have those kinds of cards again, then, yeah. If you've got an opponent swinging another opponent, it doesn't have to be your creature, right? If an opponent is swinging an opponent with a creature that's got 9 power and it's getting through, take advantage of that and just cast this and say, oh, yeah, by the way, your creature gets +0 and has Infect. Goodbye, other opponents. So, yeah, you can kind of do some really spicy things with this one. Yes, it's obviously good with, an Infect-centric deck. But it's even better when you can just, out of nowhere, I mean, I wouldn't say even better, but it's even funnier, when out of nowhere, it's like, oh, by the way, you lose to poison in my non-poison deck. And if you've got a deck that is Proliferate, yeah, look out. Even just the littlest amount of damage. Again, let's say you've got an evasive commander. Cool, your commander maybe deals 4 damage with this. Cool. 4 poison counters to that opponent. If you've got a lot of Proliferate effects, you've got plenty of ways to get that poison counter amount up, and then actually just take those opponents out. So yeah, make sure you're considering a spicy card like this one. And finally, at 99 cents, just underneath the $1 mark, we've got Old One Eye. And speaking of power, yeah, this has it in spades. A 6/6 Trampling Tyrannid for 5 and a white, a green. There we go. Other creatures you control have Trample. When it enters the battlefield, you get a 5/5 green Tyrannid creature token. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, you may discard 2 cards. If you do, return Old One Eye from your graveyard to your hand. So this card has a lot going on for it, and yeah, it's not for every deck out there. That being said, if you've got like a creature-based strategy or maybe a token strategy or maybe one that can take advantage of discard, yeah, definitely consider this. Again, For just 6 mana, you are getting a 6/6 Trampler that gives your other creatures trample to help them get through, and on top of that, when it ETBs, you get a 5/5. So yeah, blink effect decks as well can consider this too. Yeah, you get 11 total power across 2 bodies, 11 total trampling power across 2 bodies for just 6 mana. And again, on top of that, it's hard to deal with. If your opponents actually deal with it, if it's in your graveyard at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, discard 2 cards and bring it back from your graveyard to your hand. All of a sudden, it's back out, and maybe you've got another 5/5 that it comes with, and you wrote that original one out there. This kind of just like an army in one. This thing is just absolutely huge. This can just do a massive impact for a lot of decks out there again. A really cool card, a really spicy card, one that can have a huge impact on the game, again, creature-based strategies, and yeah, make sure you're considering a card like this just underneath $1 at 99 cents. And with all that said, I hope that you enjoyed the episode. I hope that you found some cards that you're looking to pick up right now. I recommend picking these up again sooner rather than later. They're just underneath $1 now, but who knows how long that will last. Make sure you check out that card list link in the description below. And yeah, consider picking some of those up. And of course, as always, thanks again, and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.